Today on Tacoma Report, the modernization of the City of Tacoma's website is almost complete. Get a look at how your experience will change. The Emergency Food Network has events coming up. Find out how you can participate and help keep the food pantries full. New Tacoma Fire Chief Siana Stallings Ali Elima joins us in the studio to discuss her top priorities for the year ahead. Those stories and more coming up on Tacoma Report. Welcome to Tacoma Report. I'm Laura Proctor. The city has announced the upcoming modernization and domain change for its official website. Stacy Minichello has more on how the platform is being modernized to reflect a commitment to enhanced user experience, accessibility, and security.
The City of Tacoma's website has served as a central hub since 2013, with an average of 5.5 million annual page views. However, the current platform needs an update to better align with user needs and technical advancements.
In 2023, we also conducted a site assessment of our existing cityoftacoma.org website and realized there were some things that needed to be modernized, and we wanted to make sure that our website was as mobile friendly as possible so people could access our services and our city information whether they were on their mobile device or tablet or their desktop.
The city partnered with Tacoma-based Site Crafting to develop a new website shaped by community feedback from focus groups, usability testing, and local events. The project aims to deliver a more accessible, user-friendly, and future-ready experience.
We want them to be able to get city services and city information, whether they're on their phones or their tablets or their desktop computers. We also want to make sure it's accessible as possible. We want anybody and everybody to be able to get the information that they need, and also wanted to help improve the navigation of the site.
With the modernized website also comes a domain change. The city's URL of cityoftacoma.org will change to tacoma.gov. Enhancing the safety and security of the city's online presence.
Anybody can go and buy a .org website, but you have to be a verified government organization to have .gov. So for us, it's going to help improve our security and enhance our accessibility to the information on our website.
Beginning April 30th, 2025, visitors seeking information about the city will be welcomed by a newly modernized website at tacoma.gov.
On the new tacoma.gov website, there are going to be some new features that we're excited to have. There's going to be an events calendar, a services section where people can learn all about the different city services that are available. And there's also an I want to section, which really will allow people to easily navigate to the sections of our website that they would like to go visit. There's even actually going to be a new city project section where people can learn about the different projects going around the city.
As part of this modernized project, on May 9th, the city emails using @cityoftacoma.org will switch to @tacoma.gov.
What I'm most excited about with this project is that it's been way overdue. It's been over 12 years since we've launched a new website, and so just really excited to modernize the website, make it more secure, make it more mobile friendly so people can get to the information and the services that they need wherever they are.
For Tacoma Report, I'm Stacy Minichello.
Remember that starting April 30th, 2025, visitors seeking information about the city will find the modernized city website at tacoma.gov. Key sites such as mytpu.org, tacomalibrary.org, and tacomavenues.org will remain unchanged. The new tacoma.gov website will be information-rich and accessible on any internet-connected device. Food insecurity is on the rise in Pierce County. The Emergency Food Network has 2 upcoming events you can participate in to raise money for their mission.
Our goal in 2025 is to provide 20 million pounds of food to Pierce County, and that need is so important right now because 1 in 4 Washingtonians visited a food pantry in the 2024 fiscal year, and we've only seen higher growth to food pantries in the last year. May is Hunger Awareness Month in Pierce County, and it's never been more important. Every May, we ask everyone in Pierce County to do at least one thing to address hunger, and so we've got all sorts of events and ways that people can participate in that. We've got Hunger Walk coming up on May 3rd. We'll be at Fort Steilacoom Park from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. We've got live music, vendors. We'll do a beautiful walk around Lake Wohop, and so it's a great way to kick off Hunger Awareness Month. Hunger Walk is so much fun, and it's just a really easy way to feel good and to do something easy to support the community. Hopefully we'll have some sunshine. We'll definitely have great live music, vendor booths that people can enjoy. Rhubarb from the Rainiers will be there, so it's a really fun time. People can feel good about themselves knowing that they've done something to support the community and also make a difference. The next weekend we have the Letter Carriers Food Drive, which is so important for us. The Letter Carriers Union hosts this food drive all across the country. Everyone is going to receive a bag in their mailbox around the beginning of May, and we ask that you leave out really great food, things like canned proteins, peanut butter, nothing in glass, nothing expired, and your letter carrier or an EFN volunteer will pick up that food on May 10th, bring it back to EFN, and then we'll get that food out into the community.
To find out more about volunteer opportunities and how you can help, visit their website, efoodnet.org. April 17th, 2025 is Cambodian Genocide Remembrance Day. On April 15th, the city of Tacoma recognized the observance with a gathering in council chambers to remember those who were killed under the Khmer Rouge regime. The event also honored local Cambodian leaders and organizations working to build historical and cultural identity.
We are here to really wish blessings over everyone within our community and celebrate our future. We are not what happened to us. We are more.
To really see our community come to where it's at now, just really is a testament to the resilience of, it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes. You know, our forefathers, our parents and grandparents had lived through so much, or you know, had passed away due to all the trauma, and just, it's incredible the level of dedication that we have to really keeping our cultures and traditions alive, of trying to keep our language alive, because so much of that was cut away from us.
Coming up after the break, Tacoma Fire Chief Siona Stallings Alielima joins us in the studio to discuss her career as a Tacoma firefighter and her goals for the upcoming year. Stick around. Welcome back to Tacoma Report. Siona Stallings Alielima began her journey with the Tacoma Fire Department in 2007 and recently was appointed as the permanent chief. Chief, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. It is so good to have you here. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your appointment.
Yeah.
Good for you. All right. So tell our viewers, what inspired you to become a firefighter, and how has that journey prepared you for the role of fire chief?
Yeah, well, thanks for asking. So I grew up in the small town of Lahaina on Maui.
Okay.
And both my parents are pastors. Okay. And so I learned from a very young age the importance of service and community. So I think I was destined to be a public servant just by trade already. Right. But my uncle, Elia, who led the dance at my swearing in, if you've heard about it or seen any video, he was one of those. He just retired from Contra Costa County Fire in California, and he spent more than 30 years there. And so growing up, seeing him and the pride and almost palpable enjoyment that he had talking about his career, it was like, man, this is a guy who's found his niche. Yeah. But at that time, I had never even seen a female firefighter, and I didn't really think, for the majority of my childhood, I had never seen a woman. I just didn't think a woman could be a firefighter, I guess, just because I'd never seen one. So I never even considered it. Fast forward, I ended up moving up to the Pacific Northwest to attend the University of Washington. And my goal was to go to medical school. But once I finished my bachelor's degree, I needed to take a little bit of time off. And a few, little things that came up, I ended up randomly applying for the Tacoma Fire Department. Okay. And it was probably one of the best things, potentially the best things I've ever done. I found a second home with the Tacoma Fire Department. And, we're not only serving the community, but it's in one of the most essential ways possible. And I joined a family that has a long history in this city of serving this community, and I'm so proud to be part of it. Since I've been on the job since 2007, we were talking a little bit about it, but we have our own paramedic program in-house, and so I attended that, and I spent the majority of my career serving as a paramedic, but also promoted to lieutenant, captain, and then medical services officer and assistant chief prior to the interim fire chief role last year. And with each step you take, the responsibility increases, but also your perspective widens. And so you see a little bit more. It's not just about me and my crew now. Now it's about me and my station or me and my district. As a medical services officer, I was overseeing pretty much all of our operations, day-to-day operations, from an EMS perspective. And so just it gives you, each step gives you just a little bit broader view of our operations, internal and external, but also how we fit in to the city, the other city departments, and even the other county departments. And so though I'm so happy with the, I would never, if you had asked me, even 15 years ago, 10 years ago, are you going to go to headquarters? I'd probably say, no, I'm going to be in the field forever.
Right.
Let alone be the fire chief. So it's pretty unimaginable, but somehow my path brought me here, and I'm glad to be serving this community in this capacity.
Absolutely, and we appreciate what you're doing. And to your point, I would have never, and I don't recall seeing a lot of women in your field, as you mentioned, and to see a chief, chief of the fire department, that is so amazing. And I think it's very motivational for our young people to say, wow, it lets them know you can do anything you want to do, right? So we appreciate the role model that you are, the example that you're setting. And again, we, thank you for doing what you do, right?
Yeah, it's my pleasure.
So also, can you tell our viewers what your top priorities are for the department in your first year as chief?
Well, I'm going to start off with a few caveats.
Okay.
Number one, I've been at headquarters long enough to know that if you think you can get something done within a year, think 3 to 5.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Number two, everything costs money.
Yeah.
So, the my goals are going to be contingent on that. But if you have goals for 3 to 5 years, you can do things now.
Okay.
And so that's kind of what we're working on. What can we do this year to push us towards these goals that are a little further out? So number one is enhancing our service and deployment, capabilities and capacity. And so, we were unsuccessful with the levy last year, but part of that money was going to go to remodeling some of our stations and upgrading them so that we could hold more response units. Currently, we are at max capacity, and we actually have 2 units that are responding out of parking lots. And so luckily, TPD, police department, they are allowing us to share one of their substations off Wapato Lake.
Oh, nice.
So that we have that. So that's, one less that would need to be,
Right.
Just out of the parking lot, even though it kind of is. But then we've also had a relationship with the library system,
Okay.
and down at 56 and Warner. And so those are the types of things that now, that we can't necessarily put funding into remodeling fire stations anymore. That's what I'm really going to be looking into, is what are other opportunities in areas that we need more response units. Maybe it's partnering with schools, or other community departments. And so those are the types of things I'm going to be looking forward to for those types of things. But we also, with the EMS levy that we passed in 2023, are going to be starting a few other light duty types of rigs that we're hoping will be able to go to some of the lower acuity, non-life threatening types of calls, so that our engines and ladders are available for true emergencies.
Okay.
And so those, we're still working on kind of what those are going to look like and where they're going to deploy from. Because like I said, we're pretty much out of space at this point. And so we're working through the details, but those will absolutely start this year.
Okay.
So that's good news. And that when you look at call volume numbers, over the last 15 years, we've increased by 45%.
Wow.
And so if you think about home in Tacoma and how we're looking at, just a lot of growth and densifying of Tacoma, we are kind of at a pivotal position right now where we are barely holding on to, being able to respond the amount we do. And so I'm very worried that we're eventually, if we don't have, number one, a good sustainable financial plan for the future, I'm just worried that we won't be able to continue to maintain the kind of level of service that we have now, especially as the community grows.
Right.
A second thing that kind of ties to that is just ensuring that we have, reliable services for the community. And right now we don't have, funding for engines, ladders, some of the tools. And so again, it's not that we don't know what the problem is. It's just how do we get those, And so we're looking at different options on how we can fund some of those in the short term, but the long term goal will be some type of sustainable funding package.
And are you able to elaborate a little bit on what that funding would look like? What are some of the steps to secure that?
Yeah. So, like for example, we applied for some grants.
Okay.
We specifically like a firefighter grant for 2 engines. But if you've been watching the news, a lot of grants and federal funding is not really coming through how it used to. And so while we'd be up against other, submissions, I'm not even sure, we're just not even sure what the reality is of these grants being in the future. And so it's things like that we're looking at different options, but long-term goal will be sustainable funding sources.
And then you mentioned that TPD, are you storing like some of your trucks there, the fire trucks?
We actually have an aid car, so it's a BLS transport unit, and
Okay.
that they basically park in the back with the police cars.
Okay.
And so that's where they respond out of the back of there. But it's an area that we needed another response.
Right.
The southeast portion of our district is just it's continually growing, and that's where we really need to have more units placed. And
Right.
so again, looking at different partners of potentially collaborative relationships
Yes.
in the community.
Absolutely.
And I mean, what wouldn't be cooler than to go to a school where there's like a fire engine,
Right.
responding out of the backside of your school or something, right? And so
Absolutely.
I think in the future that we're going to see a lot more of those types of relationships.
Good. That's good to hear. And Chief, can you also tell our viewers how you plan to strengthen the relationship between the fire department and the community?
Yeah, well, community engagement is it's so essential.
Yes.
And as my role now, it's not only to make sure that we are continuing to provide the services that this community deserves, but also to build relationships between our first responders and that community we serve. Because if the only time that we're really interacting is when you're having an emergency, again, that's a very critical job that we're playing. Yeah. But it's also, you kind of lose you don't have an opportunity to get to know the person as, it's kind of questions and then we're going to moving some direction. And so really trying to find opportunities for our crews to have a little bit more engagement with the field or with the community that they serve. And currently, when we're trying to figure out, get feedback, let's say, about like, okay, how's everything going? Now, looking at call volumes and call types right off the bat kind of shows us trends, right?
Yeah.
When I first became a paramedic, the amount of Narcan that we provided versus now, right? So we start to see, hey, we're buying a lot more of this, or we're seeing a lot more of these types of calls.
Right.
So we can look at those, but they're also there talking to family members. Sometimes, somebody calls for emergency and it's not as emergent, and we do have time to talk and answer questions.
Right.
And so we get feedback in that way too. We have liaisons in every neighborhood council, and I really would like to kind of look at more opportunities. We have we have booths at certain events in the city. We'll take an engine out of service and we'll have them go sit. You've probably seen give out helmets and
Right.
fun swag.
Yes.
But not every shift and not every crew gets to do that. And so I think if in moving forward, that's one of the things I'd really like to do, because ultimately it's a mutually beneficial relationship, right?
Absolutely.
And for community members, what they can do to help us
Yes.
is to practice fire safety.
Okay.
And attend. We have CPR classes and other preparedness types of events. So to come to those, and then also advocate for funding for us.
Right.
So
100%. We really appreciate everything that you and the department are doing, and what a beautiful thing that you're here and you have goals and visions in mind, not only for the department but for the community. So thank you for what you're doing, and we hope to see you back on the show, and fingers crossed for that funding so we can, what year did we say? the fire department was built in
1880 was when we
1880.
became a paid department.
Yeah, 1880, a building that's from 1880. So
Yes.
we hope that, like I said, that funding comes through and you guys are able to do all the remodeling that you need to do. But in the meantime, please continue doing all the wonderful things. And again, congratulations. And we look forward to having you back on the show again.
Yes, thank you. My pleasure. I'd love to come.
Absolutely. On Saturday, May 10th, you're invited to the annual Point Defiance Marina Boathouse Swap Meet. This is a great opportunity to buy, sell, and trade all types of fishing, boating, and marine-related equipment and gear. The event takes place from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and is free to the public. If you're interested in being a vendor, reserve your space at the Parks Tacoma website. Make this Mother's Day an adventure to remember at the Mother's Day Paddle on Sunday, May 11th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Foss Waterway Seaport. Check out the urban landscape from a sea kayak and experience the Tacoma skyline from a new perspective. The on-water paddle time will be approximately 2 hours and costs $50 per person. You can register now at the Parks Tacoma site. Thanks for joining us for this edition of Tacoma Report. To find out more about upcoming happenings around Tacoma, visit the city site. I'm Laura Proctor. Stay tuned and stay connected.